Streaming exclusively on Peacock. Today,
I am the greatest attraction in this company.
the Maverick, Logan Paul.
You are out here taking credit for something that doesn't belong to you.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Champion versus champion.
Here's the bottom line, Cody. Your title is on the line, mine isn't. Then Saudi Arabia, a future WWE Hall of Famer, is going to beat you.
WWE King and Queen of the Ring. Today, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Today, from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, comes an event unlike any other.
An absolutely incredible scene.
One king. One queen.
Elation has taken over the stadium.
Who will wear the crown? WWE King and Queen of the Ring. From Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Streaming exclusively on Peacock. Today,
I am the greatest attraction in this company.
the Maverick, Logan Paul.
You are out here taking credit for something that doesn't belong to you.
The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Champion versus champion.
Here's the bottom line, Cody. Your title is on the line, mine isn't. Then Saudi Arabia, a future WWE Hall of Famer, is going to beat you.
WWE King and Queen of the Ring. Today, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Today,
Then, now, forever. Together.
This is the major port city of Jeddah in the Makkah province in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This exciting, vibrant city is located in the far west part of the country on the gorgeous Red Sea. Here in Jeddah, the motto is, everything is bigger. From the architect to the ark, to the tallest lighthouse in the world, or King Fahd Fountain jetting water 800 feet into the sky, this is Jeddah. And this is the 3-year-old Jeddah Superdome, the largest non-openable dome on the planet, which hosts conferences, exhibitions, and events like WWE King and Queen of the Ring.
Well, Michael, royalty is the theme of the night, and the kingpin of WWE, our undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, has arrived at the Superdome. The American Nightmare defends his gold tonight in our main event. And earlier this week, right here in Saudi Arabia, the boxing world saw a new world heavyweight champion crowned, and Cody's challenger looks to make it something of a trend. The self-proclaimed rocket fuel in the WWE spaceship looks to take the title to even higher heights if Logan Paul can wrestle it from Cody Rhodes tonight.
And she's the women's world champion from Monday Night Raw. The New York Times best-selling author, The Man, Becky Lynch, defends her title here tonight against this woman, Liv Morgan. A change in attitude and focus. The Liv Morgan Revenge Tour continues tonight and hopes to end with the world title around her waist. And he's the Chief Content Officer of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque. He's here in Jeddah. The Triple H era takes us into King and Queen of the Ring. The countdown from Jeddah is live now.
The moment an idea becomes an obsession, signifies the beginning of a champion's journey. An opportunity to take the throne, defend what's already yours, and deliver a massive spectacle.
An absolutely incredible scene
In front of the world.
Showtime!
Tonight, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's no longer about how far you've come, but how high you will ascend.
This is what it's all about. The moments. The emotion.
Remember this. Every journey starts with a spark of an idea. And what we make of our obsessions becomes our destiny. This is WWE King and Queen of the Ring.
And now, WWE presents Countdown to King and Queen of the Ring.
Well, tonight, the opportunity of a lifetime awaits Monday Night Raw's upstart from the Emerald Isle and technical wizard Lyra Valkyria in our Queen of the Ring finals. But waiting for Lyra, the irresistible force who has carved a swath of destruction throughout the SmackDown bracket. And tonight, Nia can punch her ticket, not only to the Queen's crown, but SummerSlam.
Tonight, he hopes to become the King General. Gunther, who was recently the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever. Tonight, his work cut out for him against this man. A 14-time world champion, the Apex Predator Randy Orton, who has never won King of the Ring in his Hall of Fame career. The question is, who will become king tonight? Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Jeddah in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This is the Superdome, and inside the Superdome, I'm Michael Cole from Monday Night Raw, joined by my panel of experts. On the end, former King of the Ring from Friday Night SmackDown, Wade Barrett. Boom! Of course, next to him, Mr. Money in the Bank and a former WWE Champion, Big E. And the voice of Friday Night SmackDown, Corey Graves. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Countdown Show for King and Queen of the Ring. Rowdy crowd here already tonight. They've been raring to go all day long. And Wade, I got a question for you. You're a former King of the Ring. How important is this night to both Gunther and Randy Orton?
Well, I'll tell you this, winning King of the Ring was one of the biggest moments of my entire career. But this is a whole different level. There is a new sparkle to the crown this year, and that sparkle got even brighter when Triple H announced that the winner of that crown is going to get a championship opportunity at SummerSlam. Could not be more huge for both of those two superstars.
And you know, it's comfortable inside the Jeddah Superdome. It's probably about 75 degrees or so, but outside, we're in the desert, and it is smoking hot. Now, the temperature right now in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, which is on the Red Sea, is, I believe, 94 degrees. It feels a lot warmer than that.
All I know is I could not have chosen a better, more appropriate day in which to lose the pants of my suit that I am currently wearing. I have pants on, but they don't belong to me.
Yeah, and to paraphrase UFC knockout record holder Derek Lewis, my balls is hot. They are. It's a real thing.
Biggie, let's talk about your New Day brethren, Xavier Woods, who's the defending King of the Ring. However, he could not defend because of injury. He told you how important this was to his career.
Yeah, man, this is something he's always dreamed of. King of the Ring means so much to him and to so many of our superstars. I remember being backstage. I was the match right after Woods as he won King of the Ring and seeing tears stream down his face. That's how much winning that crown meant to him. That's how much winning King and Queen of the Ring means to these superstars.
And, you know, Corey, Wade hit on it earlier, the importance of winning tonight for both the Queen and the King. They get a championship opportunity. at SummerSlam.
It's somehow even bigger than the already existing prestige of the King and Queen crowns. There's an opportunity to head to the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam, and challenge the champion of your respective brand. It doesn't get much better than that. We are talking Royal Rumble caliber opportunity today.
And again, Corey and I are going to have the pleasure tonight to be able to call the King of the Ring final matchup between Gunther and Randy Orton, two of the most impressive superstars in WWE today. This match is going to be extremely physical. And with more on this matchup, let's head back to the backstage area here at the Jeddah Superdome and our own Byron Saxton.
Thank you, guys. I positioned myself outside the locker room of the ring general Gunther, who is preparing for arguably the highest profile match of his career against the 14-time world champion Randy Orton in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. Now, up to this point, Gunther has maintained his seemingly unshakable confidence, as well as his stern, hard-nosed demeanor. But here's what I find compelling. After speaking to Gunther last night on WWE's digital platform, he made it clear he wants to be King of the Ring. He wants to be a future world heavyweight champion, but he also wants to be a legend in this industry. So how ironic is it that for Gunther to take one step closer towards that legendary status, he has to defeat the man once known as the Legend Killer? That's it from Gunther's locker room. Now I send things over to my broadcast colleague, Kayla Braxton.
Thanks, Byron. I'm standing outside of Randy Orton's locker room, and I actually caught up with Randy earlier today, and one thing I can tell you, the Viper is as focused as ever. Now, I did have to ask Randy about his knee, especially since he will be facing an opponent as ruthless, as vicious as Gunther later on tonight in the King of the Ring tournament finals. And although Randy did acknowledge his knee isn't at 100%, he is still extremely determined to accomplish one thing he has yet to achieve in his illustrious career here in WWE, and that is to become the King of the Ring. All right, guys, I'm going to send it back to you.
Also tonight, we're going to determine who's going to be the Intercontinental Champion when we leave Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. No champion's advantage for Sami Zayn. It's a triple threat match. Sami versus Chad Gable versus Bronson Reed tonight.
Will the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour continue on or come to a screeching halt at the hands of the man? Becky Lynch defends the Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan tonight.
Who will be the Queen of the Ring and earn a championship opportunity at SummerSlam? Will be the upstart from Raw, Lyra Valkyria, or the dominating Nia Jax from Friday Night SmackDown? We find out tonight.
And the King of the Ring final goes down tonight in the Jeddah Superdome, a dream match for many around the world as the Viper, Randy Orton, battles the Ring General Gunther to crown the King. And tonight in our main event, the undisputed WWE Championship is on the line as our United States Champion, Logan Paul, challenges the champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who I had a chance to sit down with earlier this week. And Cody is more than excited to lead WWE into a whole new era. He is the American Nightmare, the undisputed WWE Champion, and the man who's carrying the torch for WWE heading into a new era. I recently had a chance to sit down with Cody Rhodes to talk about how his role in WWE has changed since becoming champion. A few months have passed, but I want to ask you to do your best to put into words the feeling of finishing the story at WrestleMania.
I feel like finishing the story, that's the feeling of whatever it is, I want to chase it for the rest of my life. It's like a sensation that I really can't describe. Well, it made me happy, it made me smile, it made me cry, it made me everything. And it felt like the thing I had wanted all along, and the moment met, if not exceeded, my expectations.
Well, in that moment, you definitely got what you were chasing. You captured what you were after. You are now, whether you like to admit it or not, the face of WWE. What does that feeling and that responsibility that comes with it feel like to you?
If that's true, and I have become the face of this wonderful company, it feels like I'm more appreciative of the team around me than I ever was. I had said this to Logan Paul, and I stand by it. It's a team effort.
Talk to me about the time commitment that's required of being the undisputed WWE champion in this day and age.
I think sometimes fans, maybe because they hear it often about the Royal Rumble, they hear it about WrestleMania, maybe they think it's hyperbole when we say how much your life changes perhaps winning a Royal Rumble, how much your life changes winning the undisputed WWE Championship. Conversations with media, teleconferences, all this stuff. I feel pretty balanced in this day and age on being able to do it all.
Have there been any superstars, whether they be current or in the past, who have been world champions, who you've sought out for advice?
I've tried to stay connected to Randy Orton and always remembering kind of what I saw in 2008, 2009 when John Cena was on the top of the bill and what he was doing, and doing my best to do the things they did right, but also do it my own way. I am thinking, how do we make this bigger?
Well, in your quest for always bigger, always better, what's your opinion on the state of WWE and the industry as a whole currently?
One thing that was really wonderful about the last 3 years or so is we're seeing new fans, whether they be little kiddos or they be people coming back to pro wrestling, and it's never been better. And I think there's like this kind of like pat on the back for like you and I and anyone who came up in our generation, because gosh, we were just beat over the head with how wonderful the Attitude Era was. And it was, it really was. And then I would get bitter about it because I'm like, yeah, well, we're here now, we're doing this now. It's really special to see a metric like, hey, this is the biggest arena gate in the history of WWE in France at Backlash, knowing that, oh, we can put that next to our name, and Rock and Steve don't have that one.
Right.
That's something I'm just really proud of.
If you had to give yourself advice, I'm talking about dashing Cody Rhodes, perhaps even Stardust, from where you sit now, what would you tell yourself then?
Basically, when you're in the position I was in and you're not someone who's desired, you're undesirable, you're not the first choice, you're not number one on the call sheet. If the answer you're finding to, am I a future WWE champion? If the answer is yes, then you have to bet on yourself. I don't think Stardust should be in the main event on any show ever, anywhere on this planet. So I needed to find out, what can I do to get better? If you're the same as you were, that's not a good thing.
Right.
You're not growing. And for me, I just was getting worse and finally made the call to go and get better.
Coming up, Cody Rhodes gives his unfiltered opinion on his controversial opponent at King and Queen of the Ring, Logan Paul.
I'll be completely honest, I don't think Logan Paul stands a chance.
It's been an interesting week in social media for Cody Rhodes as well. There's been a lot of talk, guys, about the lead-up into the Royal Rumble and then into WrestleMania and what actually happened when it came down to The Rock, so on and so forth. But your sit-down with Cody, Corey, Cody is extremely confident, and he knows that he belongs in this role as WWE Champion now, despite what anybody may say.
Because Cody understands what it takes. Cody's only been WWE champion for a short period of time, but he's already understands, as you understand very well, Biggie, the time commitment and the fact that being WWE champion is not a job description, it's a lifestyle. It is 24/7, 365 around the globe for all of these maniacs that come to each and every live event. It is tireless, it is thankless at times, but Cody understands that Logan Paul is not a guy willing to make that commitment.
And you know, Biggie, one thing I wanted to play off Corey there is, throughout many years in your career, a lot of people doubted you. They never believed that you could hold the top title in our company, and you did it, and you were able to do it. What was Cody going through to the point where he finally won the championship? How was he feeling? What was it like inside?
I think for a guy like Cody, there's a certain perception you can have as a mid-carder, and people see you as, this is where you are slotted, this is your ceiling. And I think Cody was someone who did incredible things. He won an Intercontinental Championship at WWE, and I think he's someone who also sets himself, he has a very high bar for himself, and I feel like he's very hard on himself, but he did incredible things before getting to this current mountaintop. But I think oftentimes people see that glass ceiling and say, that's all you can be, that's all you ever will be. And for Cody, that was not good enough. So he had to leave, and he had to come back a better version of himself.
And Wade, let me ask you, because you never had the opportunity to hold a world championship in WWE. Came close on a number of occasions. How did that eat at you professionally?
Well, it still eats at me to this day. Thanks for bringing that up, Michael. I was in a good mood until right then. But yeah, you know, that's one of those almost box-checking exercises you do at the end of your career. Did I hit everything I wanted to do? Did I main event this? Did I get here? Did I win this championship? Did I become the world champion, the A-plus #1 guy? And if the answer's no, then where did I go wrong? What mistakes did I make? What could I have done better? And I'm at the point now in my career where I can't ever go back and fix that. I'm glad Cody had his opportunity to figure it out and climb to the very top of the mountain.
Just for the record, I never doubted you, Big E. I knew it the whole time. I was the one.
You said things. I heard.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's still plenty more to come here tonight at the Jeddah Superdome. Thousands are expected for the King and Queen of the Ring. And also on our countdown show, later on, Corey and I will head to ringside. We have the opportunity to call a match for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Bianca Belair and, of course, Cora Jade will defend against,
Jade Cargill.
Got ahead of myself.
Plenty of
against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell for the tag titles later on tonight here on the Countdown Show. Too much social media.
The ultimate fan experience. The WWE Experience. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Today, the big time fight goes next level in Jeddah.
In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Becky Lynch.
I'm the best I've ever been.
Liv Morgan.
I won't stop until I have everything
The Women's World Championship.
that I want.
WWE King and Queen of the Ring. Today, from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
And for the first time in 4 years, we will crown a King of the Ring. Will Booker T be King Booker? What the hell? Your winner, Booker T. Oh, hell, King Booker.
The King, unmatched courage, prowess, and ability.
King Booker!
Thank you all, my loyal subjects.
Booker made it the greatest thing to happen to his career.
Bow down and kiss my ring.
Started talking with a British accent.
How many gladiators will I have to slay to prove that I am the king of the world? Who is this rogue?
You can't physically embody a king any better than Booker T did that.
I didn't just get, anointed king. I became king.
And perhaps this young man is the new King Booker, enjoying the VIP access area here at the Jeddah Superdome, which of course hosts tonight the King and Queen of the Ring. This is the Countdown Show. We're so glad you could join us. Also here tonight, the Women's Tag Team Champions, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, will defend in a matter of moments here on the Countdown Show.
Hey, Jade. Bianca, big night for you to say the least. Your first televised women's tag team title defense against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. How excited are you both?
Beyond excited. I mean, this is my first PLE in Saudi. Who gets that? At that with the EST. We're going to go out there, we're going to win, we're going to take these belts home like we always do.
Bianca, I got to ask, we saw you get banged up last night on Friday Night SmackDown. How's the knee feeling?
It's not 100%. I lost that match last night because of my knee. But at the end of the day, Candice is the one that started all of this. But I beat her before with one knee, and I'll do it again. And with Jade Cargill by my side, we're going to remain the Women's Tag Team Champions.
Ladies, good luck tonight in your match.
Who needs luck?
Good point. Good point. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair will take on Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae in just a few moments here on the Countdown Show. But there's also another highly anticipated women's match here tonight, and that match, of course, is the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament.
The throne is ready for the taking. A new king and queen of WWE will be crowned. You've heard of the NCAA bracketology. Well, this is some Barrettology. I'd say it's a Sweet 16, but there's nothing saccharine about what these women have put each other through. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark made quick work of their opponents.
First round matchup, Queen of the Ring tournament. Io Sky advances.
However, the round's most shocking victory came from the newcomer, Lyra Valkyria.
Trying to add a feather to her wing.
And she puts Dakota away.
Over on SmackDown, Cargill and Stratton into round 2. Nia Jax, an irresistible force, squashing the glow out of Naomi. Meanwhile, Bianca Belair continued to show why she is the EST. Kicking off the quarterfinals, Baszler ran into the full court press that is Io Sky. While Lyra Valkyria showed composure in the heat of combat,
into the Nightwing,
securing her spot in the semis with a victory.
I only travel as the crow flies, straight to the top.
Bianca Belair was able to outlast Tippy Time, but victory came with a cost.
My knee is not 100%. Nothing is stopping me from becoming Queen of the Ring.
And in an absolute shocker, the bout between Nia Jax and Jade Cargill was an all-out melee.
Your mom sucks! Nia Jax taking a moment to insult Jade's daughter. That's gonna cause a disqualification!
After all the bracket busters took place, we finally made it to the Final Four.
Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky go one-on-one. The opportunity to make it to the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Oh, and a powerbomb. Valkyria back up. Valkyria stacks her up. Lyra wins. Big upset tonight. Lyra Valkyria's in the finals.
Belair or Jackson meet Lyra Valkyria. Thinking about a KOD.
That Nia Belair just crumbled.
Hey, Lyra, I'm gonna buzz right through you to become Queen of the Ring.
Now we have a true David versus Goliath story. Lyra Valkyria, the underestimated rookie, has scratched and clawed her way her entire career. From overcoming the odds and beating Becky Lynch for the NXT Championship, to being drafted to Raw, and in just weeks, reaching the finals of the tournament. Standing across the ring from Lyra, though, is the imposing Nia Jax, who has advanced from round to round using brute force and pure dominance. Will Jax's menacing presence and sheer power be too much for Valkyria to overcome? Or can Lyra write a happily ever after to her Cinderella story? Tonight, we find out who will become the next WWE Queen of the Ring.
It is an unbelievable opportunity. We now know the Queen of the Ring will get a championship shot at SummerSlam. Let's take a look at the upstart former NXT champion looking to pull the upset tonight, Lyra Valkyria.
Tá ag tuairt aig an dúshlán is mó the chas mé riamh. The biggest challenge I've ever faced is ahead of me. 16 women started on this journey, and now only 2 remain. My road to the throne has been arduous. Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, Io Sky, and now Nia Jax. There's no doubt that the challenge ahead is great. And it's true, the outcome is never certain until the task is complete. But I'm Lyra Valkyria. I only travel as the crow flies. Straight to the top, straight to the crown. And I will be queen of the ring.
All right, Lyra, tonight is the night. You're about to embark on the biggest challenge in your WWE career. And only after being on Monday Night Raw for about a month now, you have the opportunity to become the brand new queen of the ring. How surreal is it for you to realize you've made it to this point in such a short amount of time?
Kayla, it is so surreal. Just a month ago, I was in NXT thinking about how to regain my championship. And now, not only am I on Raw, I'm standing here in Jeddah. I can't imagine a more surreal start to come into Monday Night Raw. And here I am in the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament.
Now you're going to be facing Nia Jax, who qualified last night on Friday Night SmackDown. And after her victory, she had some choice words for you. Have you had a chance to marinate any further on what she said?
All I'm saying is I cannot wait to prove her wrong. She said she was going to buzz through me. I bet every other woman on Raw thought that. Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, Io Sky, former WWE Women's Champion. And I'm the one standing in Jeddah. I'm the one that's going to be the Queen of the Ring. I am the one that is going to SummerSlam. Lyra Valkyria is about to get launched straight into the championship picture.
Well, why don't we take a deeper look into who your opponent is? That is the irresistible force, Nia Jax.
Destiny. No one is stopping me from reaching mine.
Calling me, bound to be. Ain't nobody gon' stop me.
Not Naomi. Not Jade Cargill. Not Bianca Belair.
Destiny, calling me, bound to be the greatest.
Nia Jax will squash them all.
And certainly not Lyra Valkyria.
When I hit him like.
Tonight, I take the crown by force.
Nia has been unstoppable.
Because no one is stopping me from reaching my destiny as the next WWE Queen of the Ring.
Well, I'd like to start here and talk about this matchup with you, Wade. What does Lyra Valkyria need to do to have any chance against Nia Jax tonight?
She needs to be living in a fairy tale, if I'm perfectly honest. Look, I watched Lyra's entire career on NXT UK, and in NXT, she has been brilliant. The problem is she has never faced anybody like Nia Jax in her entire career. And the problem is, to learn how to beat Nia Jax, you've got to try your moves, figure out what doesn't work, and then come up with a bunch of new moves. You just cannot do that on the first night. It has been a Cinderella story so far for Lyra Valkyria, but that's a fairy tale. It's not a documentary, and tonight is going to end badly for Lyra Valkyria.
It's one thing to live inside of a fairy tale like Lyra Valkyria appears to be doing, but it's another entirely when you encounter an actual fire-breathing dragon, which we assure you Nia Jax is tonight in the finals.
So, Biggie, does Lyra have a chance?
I'll give you that. I think Nia has had her best run yet, but I could say, you know, the fairy tale argument with Lyra, I think you could argue the last round, the round before. I think she's gone a lot farther than a lot of people had thought. But she has someone important who believes in her. She has someone in Becky Lynch, her fellow countrywoman. And I think having someone in your corner who has gone that path, who has been where you want to be, I think that buoys her spirits. I think it gives her the confidence that she can do this.
Like I did for you?
You never did that. You just weighed me down like you were an albatross, if anything, sir.
You know, Big E touched on this, Wade, the difference in Nia Jax this time around since her first run here in WWE. How is Nia different, in your opinion?
Yeah, so I was watching from home when Nia had her first run in WWE, and I thought she was really, really good. And then she went away, came back. I was surprised when she returned. She's not just really, really good this time. She has the potential to become an all-time great. She has completely perfected that style of the powerhouse wrestler that is really difficult to do. She's big, she's powerful, she's athletic, and most of all, she is so aggressive. And I don't think there is a single person on the roster, let alone Lyra Valkyria, who in a one-on-one situation can consistently beat Nia Jax. She really is that good. She might be the best of all the women on the roster, in my opinion.
You know, your little baritology segment, very lovely, by the way, but it reminds me of the NCAA tournament and the Cinderella. And I think that's what we're seeing in Lyra, is she's having a Cinderella run right now, and her confidence has got to be sky high. Look, a lot of people are going to be picking Nia right now, but I like Lyra. I like her chances. I think that doubt, I think a lot of people saying she can't do it, I think is going to fuel her tonight.
Can Lyra Valkyria pull off a major upset tonight against Nia Jax? We'll find out in just a little bit. The countdown continues, however, from the Jeddah Superdome. There is still plenty more to come as we get ready for the King and Queen of the Ring.
Welcome, everyone, to the biggest event of the summer.
For more than 35 years, SummerSlam has delivered some of the most amazing moments in WWE history.
I am completely in shock right now.
And in 2026, we'll once again make history.
Fasten your seatbelts. It is about to go down. Let's go!
Working with Minnesota Sports and Events, we will expand SummerSlam to 2 nights. Saturday, August 1st and Sunday, August 2nd, 2026 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Live from the world-class US Bank Stadium, WWE will bring 2 epic nights of SummerSlam to the Twin Cities. So there's only one question to ask. Are you ready?
The Queen's Crown Tournament was pretty much the ladies' version of the iconic King of the Ring, where everyone is competing in this tournament, and ultimately there will be one winner that will be crowned Queen of the Ring.
The WWE Universe was excited to see this tournament come to fruition.
History was made in the finals of this first Queen's Crown Tournament in Saudi Arabia as Zelina Vega took on Piper Niven, then known as Doudrop.
First ever Queen's Crown Tournament. It'll be talked about forever.
Once I actually walked into the ring and stood across from her, I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna soak every bit of this up.
What an opportunity that is upon us right here.
Aesthetically, they're complete opposites. Zelina is maybe 5 foot. Here we have a much larger athlete in Piper Niven who is towering over Zelina Vega. We have a classic David Goliath story.
Zelina off the second rope. Doudrop with her power catches Vega.
Piper is an absolute powerhouse.
And Doudrop just powering her way out of it. Oh. Down goes Zelina.
And to see these 2 women battle it out with the Queen's crown on the line, we get to see that unfold in the ring.
Oh! Around and around we go for the win! And a kick out by Doudrop.
The fact that a women's match is happening in Saudi Arabia, and then not only that, but it's for the Queen's crown, that doesn't happen in their country. There's people out there watching. There are little girls out there watching saying, they can do it, I can do it.
And on that night, Zelina Vega proved no matter what obstacle was in front of her, she could come out on top.
Zelina Vega's the queen!
For me, it meant a lot more than I realized at the moment, because I had no idea that this was going to be my life, that I'd actually become a history maker. And to say that I did that is still mind-blowing to me.
Seeing her get that win, she was going to really elevate it and set a great standard for everybody else to try to follow.
To see all of the men in the crowd bowing down to me, my God, there was nothing like it.
There's only one first. So for the rest of WWE history, this young woman, Zelina Vega, will be able to call herself the first ever Queen's Crown Tournament winner.
You know what? I feel like the second I put on the crown and the cape and the scepters, I feel like a whole new side of me just came out.
Zelina did a great job setting the standard for the first ever Queen of the Ring.
We are in the presence of royalty here on Monday Night Raw.
She's 5 foot nothing. When she had that crown on, it looked like she was 7 feet tall.
You know, guys, one of the cool things about the Jeddah Superdome is this whole VIP access area where you can wander through and get a feel for everything that is WWE, including the WWE shop where you can buy some Michael Cole merch. More on that a little bit later on. But let's head back to Byron Saxton in the locker room area with a very special guest.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm joined by a man who needs very little introduction. He is the Chief Content Officer of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque. Paul, tonight, there's a lot of excitement in the air as it relates to the finals of both the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournaments. From your perspective, how important are these matches for the WWE Universe?
Well, they're massive, and first of all, it's a huge understatement. The excitement here, we have been here for most of this week. The excitement here from the moment we landed, as you know, being in Riyadh, being at the WWE experience, which is just awesome. I can't imagine myself being a kid getting to go to the WWE experience, this immersive world of just everything WWE. There's nothing else like it. But to then come here last night in Jeddah for SmackDown, this place was off the charts. The people here are so excited. We had a great time, but now tonight, it's really the main event. Tonight is the reason we're all here. King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, as you said. They're not just fancy titles that people win and then get to call themselves king or queen. It's really about establishing yourself, cementing your legacy. The competition for these titles is massive. It's incredibly high. So when you look at tonight, you see somebody like Nia Jax, who since she's been back in the WWE has just torn through everybody here. She's done it all, from going toe-to-toe with Rhea Ripley to tearing through Becky Lynch, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, to get here tonight to the finals of Queen of the Ring. Can she finish that job? Can she establish herself as the queen? To do that, she's got to go through Lyra Valkyria. And in many ways, you can look at her and say, a lot of accolades on her own, but should she even be in this position? She's been on Raw now for a cup of coffee. But she also beat Io Sky to get here. And when you beat the former women's champion to get here, anything is possible. I'm interested in that. And then on the other side of that, Randy Orton coming back after what could have been a career-ending injury. 18 months he was out. Can he solidify his legacy tonight? Can he put that stamp that says, I'm back at the top of the mountain tonight, and win King of the Ring? Can he finish and take another step forward in that journey of being one of the greatest of all time in his career? To do that, he's got to go through Gunther. And Gunther has really been like nobody we have ever seen here before in WWE, just on a tear. Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Now here he is, having gone through just about everybody to get to tonight. Randy Orton versus Gunther, impossible to call on my end. But I'm going to be doing what everybody here is doing. I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm going to be watching with bated breath to see what happens, because not only does a king get crowned, a queen get crowned, but those winners will also go on to face their respective champions at SummerSlam. So a lot on the line here tonight. This is going to be awesome.
Paul, I appreciate you providing your perspective on what could be a night that people talk about for years and years to come.
History making.
Indeed it is. Michael and the rest of the panel, we will send things back to you.
Thank you, Byron, and we want to introduce you to the man who ended Gunther's 666-day reign as Intercontinental Champion, Sami Zayn. Tough test tonight, no champion's advantage under triple threat rules, of course, accompanied by his longtime friend, Kevin Owens. Or will it be 330-pound Big Bronson Reed? Believes this will finally be his moment tonight, his first championship on the main roster. Or This man, a very bitter Chad Gable, yet to win a singles championship in WWE. The former U.S. Olympian looks to win the Intercontinental Championship tonight.
Sami Zayn defends the Intercontinental title in his hometown. And the man that many say is responsible for the fact that Sami Zayn's champion today, Chad Gable.
You deserve a chance at this more than anybody. It'd be my honor to defend this Intercontinental Championship against you.
I can't wait.
Something has to give tonight. Ankle lock now. Gable's got it locked in. Exploder. Can Sami capitalize here? Hello attack. Shoulders down. Sami retains. You can see the disappointment on the face of Gable. He came so close yet again. And now the celebration with his family, of course, his wife, and Gable from behind. Gable snapped. The pressure's gotten to him.
What I did to Sami was justified. He knew that was my moment. That should have been me at WrestleMania. That should have been me with my daughter celebrating, but I was wasting my time training Sami Zayn. I've been wasting my time training a bunch of freaking losers.
Gable obsessed with the fact that he wants to win the Intercontinental Championship.
Never mind Chad Gable.
Oh, Bronson Reed!
You got bigger problems to deal with.
You're looking at the new Intercontinental Champion.
While those two are focused on their rivalry, I'm about my business. The Intercontinental Championship belongs to Big Bronson Reed.
Sami's got Gable and Bronson Reed looking to take the championship from him.
So how does this end? To me, there's only one way it can end. Triple threat match at King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia. When the pressure is on and this championship is on the line, that is when I am at my best. That soul, that heart, that passion, that is why I am holding this right now.
Sami Zayn come right after Chad Gable. And now turns his attention to Bronson Reed. From behind, Chad Gable.
Once again, Reed is the last one standing.
All I care about is business, and violence is how I make my money. I will use my body as a weapon, and I will take that championship.
I'm not just taking your title, Sami. I'm taking your soul.
At King and Queen of the Ring, mark my words, I will walk out still Intercontinental Champion.
You know, Guy, dozens of Hall of Famers have held the prestigious Intercontinental Championship 1979. The first ever champion, the late, great Pat Patterson. Bad news, Barrett. Mr. Wade Barrett on the end of the panel, a former multi-time Intercontinental Champion. Tell us about the importance of holding that title.
Well, just to be clear, one of those 5 championship reigns were after I defeated a certain Big E, but let's move on pretty quickly before he drops me. That was the biggest thing in my career. Look, my heroes, guys like Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, they all held that championship. Pretty much every great wrestler in history in WWE held that championship at some point. It's massive, it's a huge thing for these guys, and I completely understand why Chad Gable is solely focused on winning that title. I think it will change his world and change his life.
And Big E, Chad has said this is personal because he's never held a singles championship in WWE. This has become an obsession for him.
Very much so. And you know what? I think one of the things that we haven't discussed is I have a theory, the possible latent trauma or PTSD from being saddled as Shorty G. Look, you put an Olympian in a tank top and some long shorts. Can you blame the man for snapping? I don't.
Who was going to protect the planet from the Monstars?
Honestly. But you know what? He is an incredibly talented man who has been here for a long time. And it's almost shocking to hear a stat like that he's never held a singles championship. And you look, this is also a triple threat. There's no disqualifications. You have Otis out here. You have a second man out here who can do apparently whatever he wants. So, you know, I think Chad has a great opportunity tonight to walk away for the first time as the singles champion.
Corey, where does Otis stand, though, however, if he's out there with Chad tonight?
I don't know if Otis is bright enough to have changed his mind at this point. I'm curious to see. I mean, there's always a variable. Anytime you trust Otis to do anything, there's about a 50-50 shot it goes right. When you've got a wrecking ball like Otis on your team, it's got to give you confidence, particularly when you've got to deal with someone the size and power of Big Bronson Reed.
Okay, quick now, guys. Wade Barrett, who wins this match?
Chad Gable.
Big E?
Chad Gable.
Corey?
Sami Zayn.
I'm going with Big Bronson Reed, a former North American champion from NXT, has never held the title on the main roster. Now, we cannot talk about the Intercontinental Championship without remembering the late, great Eddie Guerrero, a two-time Intercontinental Champion, and he is the subject of our A&E biography, WWE Legends, tomorrow night. I spent many years and had the honor to call many of Eddie Guerrero's matches. I called him a very close friend. Even today, Eddie has had a lasting influence on our industry.
Viva la raza! Talk about arriving in style, lowrider style. It's a pretty cool convertible lowrider.
If you watch any professional wrestling show today, Eddie Guerrero's fingerprints are all over everything.
Viva la raza! Rey Mysterio coming out here in Snoop Dogg's lowrider to pay homage to the late great Eddie Guerrero.
The lowrider was Eddie's trademark. The fact that I was able to come out in a lowrider representing La Raza with Eddie's song was deep, very, very deep.
Latino World Order! Together we can do this! We can!
It's official. We are the new. The LWO. For those superstars that didn't get the chance to meet him, they within themselves feel a connection. And that's Eddie's mark. That's what he left behind. And Eddie will always be remembered.
This is an homage to his uncle, Eddie Guerrero.
Anytime I see my son, there's a resemblance to Eddie. I don't know if it's the hair, I don't know if it's the movement.
I will never even come close to anything he has ever done. But if I can get as close as I can to late 1990s Eddie being a bad guy, you know, the mullet, his moves, everything has been for Eddie, you know, and try to pay homage to him and just try to make him proud. You have these certain moves that are, a lot of people do them, but they're affiliated with that one person. You see someone jumping off the top rope, doing a frog splash, it goes straight to Eddie Guerrero.
Frog splash from the heavens!
It's kind of cool to see that his legacy lives on through that.
Shades of Eddie Guerrero, Viva la Raza!
Obviously, people still use the frog splash all the time. You see the shimmy all the time. Three Amigos all the time.
Duplex, watch the hips roll. That's right, this is textbook Eddie Guerrero. These triple vertical suplexes. Logan Paul looking for three Amigos of his own. And he pulls it off. Viva la Logan.
But I think like his greatest contribution is just how all-around incredible he was. He could just do everything. When someone asked me, well, who should I watch? Well, you want to get good at everything? Watch Eddie.
Wow, Eddie Guerrero just left an indelible footprint on this industry. And I can tell you from speaking to a lot of the cruiserweight guys in the locker rooms, they all stole everything Eddie could do. They wanted to be just like Eddie Guerrero. But then even the bigger guys who couldn't move as well as Eddie Guerrero did, we looked at his personality, his ability to connect with a crowd, and we wanted to steal all that from him, whatever we could. The man was an absolute maestro at this, and deservedly, of course, a Hall of Famer and a guy who will never be forgotten.
You know, Wade, we talk a lot about there'll never be anybody like this guy or there'll never be anybody like that guy. There will never, ever be anybody like Eddie Guerrero. What he did in the ring, his charisma, his talent, how he entertained people. I could tell you stories until I was blue in the face about the amount of time that I spent with Eddie Guerrero in cars over the years in all kinds of different places. I was very close to the man. And probably the highlight, or one of the highlights of my career, was the night at the Cow Palace when Eddie Guerrero did the unthinkable and he beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. It was one of the most emotional nights in the history of WWE. The scene backstage was even more incredible. We all had tears on our face when it finally happened for Eddie Guerrero. And again, it is just so important for this company to continue to remember what Eddie Guerrero meant to all of us. We got plenty more to come here tonight on The Countdown.
Of course, we are referencing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match coming up here on King and Queen of the Ring Countdown. LeRae and Hartwell challenge Cargill and Belair, still to come. But before we get there, part 2 of my sit-down with the American Nightmare, the undisputed WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes, as Cody sheds a little more light on his opponent tonight, Logan Paul.
Ultimate fan experience. The WWE Experience. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Since 1998, this man has competed all over the world.
I have headlined Tokyo Dome. I have been a champion all over the world. I earned the right to be here in the WWE.
The phenomenal one, AJ Styles, is here.
Stand for something, never fall for nothing. Opposition, yeah, they got was bluffing. In the competition, yeah, they got was fronting. Got Ferrari power, yeah, I'm always clutching on the ground, dog. Look at all the buckets full of sweat and pain. No regretting games, swinging lane to lane off the ground, dog.
A mastermind of offensive innovation.
AJ Styles continues to be the best performer of our generation.
Every time I step foot in this ring, I take pride in what I do in it.
That's 1,000 fans and 1,000 stands, make 1,000 sounds. That's 1,000 hands and 1,000 claps and 1,000 bounds. 10,000 hours, 10,000 hours, yeah.
Having the match of my life is what I do. This is the house that AJ Styles built.
10,000 hours, 10,000 hours. Absolute, word around town says I'm the truth.
AJ Styles is the WWE champion. I defended the WWE championship against the best that sports entertainment has to offer. What good is being champion if you're not a fighting champ?
Nothing about AJ Styles in his career has been easy. He's worked hard for everything he's accomplished.
They don't call me phenomenal for nothing.
That's Jimmy Uso beating the hell out of Styles.
Judging by AJ's appearance, this is a very, very different man than we last saw.
Attitude. I see this more like focus. I'm dialed in. I was out, got my mind right, knew what I wanted, got focused.
They don't know what I'm capable of. They think maybe I'm over the hill. Maybe I'm done. If you want to be the best, outwork the guy beside you. And I've done just that my whole career. And you know what's changed since then? Nothing.
Round for round. fans in 1,000 stands, make 1,000 sounds.
I'm gonna demolish everything and prove a point.
I am better than the best. I am phenomenal.
10,000 ounce. 10,000 ounce.
The moment an idea becomes an obsession signifies the beginning of a champion's journey. An opportunity to take the throne, defend what's already yours, and deliver a massive spectacle.
An absolutely incredible scene
In front of the world.
Showtime!
Tonight, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's no longer about how far you've come, but how high you will ascend.
This is what it's all about. The moments. The emotion.
Remember this. Every journey starts with a spark of an idea. And what we make of our obsessions becomes our destiny. This is WWE King and Queen of the Ring.
Welcome back, everybody, to the King of the Ring Countdown Show. There you got a beautiful shot of the Jeddah Superdome here in Saudi Arabia. Members of the WWE Universe are still filing into the Superdome. And guys, when I tell you the energy here is different than it's been in previous premium live events around the globe, I absolutely mean it. It has been electric here in Jeddah, but I am so honored to be joining the panel here for the second half of the Countdown Show. Big E and Wade, you were here earlier. How has the energy been for you guys out here?
It's been beautiful. It's beautiful. Obviously, people are very excited to see who the new king and queen will be crowned tonight.
Yeah, it's been a massive few days here in Jeddah. I'll tell you what, the biggest energy I felt since we got here was the return of Kevin Owens on SmackDown last night.
Yeah, I did it.
And I think we all
early made it.
We all owe KO a debt of gratitude. Had he not shown up, I don't think we would have a King of the Ring final tonight because Randy Orton was about to get stomped out.
That's
so
right.
thank you,
all
KO.
thanks to me. It's happening thanks to me. I love praise.
How have you enjoyed yourself in Jeddah so far this week?
Well, I'm glad I made it. I barely made it. We can touch on that some other time. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure Randy would have some support here. I'm wearing the shirt. Did you see the shirt they made for him?
It's beautiful.
Pretty good.
Right.
Well,
So, yeah.
Well, we know Randy has obviously a huge night. He is up for King of the Ring, something he has never accomplished in his time here in WWE, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later. But another big match was discussed earlier in the show, and that is Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. We know that Cody Rhodes was able to finish his story at WrestleMania this April, but Logan Paul is already saying he is going to end that story. Earlier, we did hear from Cody Rhodes as he sat down with Corey Graves, but he has a little more to say about his upcoming match tonight. So let's take a listen to that right now.
Earlier, Cody Rhodes gave insight into how he's adjusted to life at the top of WWE. And now Cody and I discuss his next challenge at King and Queen of the Ring. Well, in Saudi Arabia, your opponent will be the United States champion, Logan Paul. I know you've had limited access to Logan over the short period of time he's been in WWE, but from Cody Rhodes' perspective, who is Logan Paul?
I was thinking of something to say about Logan. I looked up the definition of maverick. It was funny. It was not what I thought I'd read. It's an unorthodox or independent-minded person. I can't say that I dislike that. And it definitely fits Logan Paul and our United States champion because of the ventures he's made. He's just been incredibly successful. And from a wrestling perspective, Logan is more fundamentally sound than he has any right to be.
Well, it sounds like you have definitely a healthy professional respect for Logan Paul. What about personally?
He has a bit of a reputation for rubbing people the wrong way. Fortune does favor the bold, all that. But I think more than anything, what's happened is everything I just said about Logan, how good he is, that's informed the choices he's made, and he's been too bold, taking credit for WWE's skyrocketing success.
I have been the rocket fuel for the spaceship that is WWE.
Knowing he believes that, the best thing that can happen to that person is to slip on a banana peel, fall flat on their face, and then we see what they do.
What are your thoughts about what Logan did changing the contract to taking his United States title off the line in this matchup at King and Queen of the Ring?
Titles mean everything. I know a lying wrestler when he says, oh, I don't care about that championship, or I don't care about that list. I know that they aren't telling the full truth. I would have loved to have gotten a Grand Slam victory. Maybe that's a story to finish at another time.
There's still plenty of time.
Yes.
I've got to ask you, I don't want you to give away your strategy before the matchup, but how do you plan on neutralizing the dreaded right hand of Logan Paul? As he's shown multiple occasions, it only takes one lucky punch.
Well, this might not be the best person to quote, but to quote JBL when he was talking about Shawn Michaels' super kick, he said that he would just duck. And
it's JBL for you.
I think that is my current strategy, in a sense of I don't need to get it to a point in the match where I'm at all off balance, because then no matter how quick and athletic and instincts and in your blood, no matter how much of that you have, it can end very quickly, courtesy of a Logan Paul right hand.
So as we approach King and Queen of the Ring, you defend your undisputed WWE Championship against the United States champion Logan Paul, not title for title. How's it play out? How's it go down in Saudi Arabia?
As much positive things and wonderful platitudes I can throw out about Logan Paul, I'll be completely honest, I don't think Logan Paul stands a chance. And I think Logan Paul finds out that, yeah, he's wonderful, but he's not on the level that he thinks he's on. And that's a great thing for him to find out.
It'll be a great thing for all of us to witness. King and Queen of the Ring, Saudi Arabia. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Cody Rhodes, as cool, calm, and collected as he always is. But Kevin, I gotta, you've had a few bouts with Logan Paul, even as recently as WrestleMania. What are your current thoughts on Logan?
I mean, he's way better than he has any right to be. We've all said this many times. Cody just mentioned it now, but I mean, he's not walking out with Cody Rhodes' title tonight.
No, you don't think so?
There's just no way. There's no way. I don't think he's earned one single victory he's had so far.
I mean, we know Logan, though. He has a lot of success here in Saudi Arabia, though.
Yeah, the brass knuckles always help out a lot.
They do, but yeah. And by the way, did we buy any of that he didn't know those brass knuckles were in his shorts last night?
Come on, Kayla. Were you born yesterday? You know how this game works. He knew they were in there. Look, I really worry about what I'm hearing from Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is brilliant, but right now he is trying to be the perfect ambassador. He is the champion. He is the figurehead of WWE. He's also responsible for leading us into a new era. He's trying to do everything correctly as a good guy, as an inspirational guy. The problem is you are in there with a complete rat in Logan Paul, who has now navigated not putting his own championship on the line. Cody, for some reason, agreed to this. No, Cody, you're fighting a guy tonight who is probably, at some point, going to try and involve brass knuckles or something of that ilk. You cannot be perfect tonight, Cody. You have to get down in the trenches against someone like Logan Paul.
So Logan's turning his brass knuckles, we know that, but have we considered a la Lex Luger and the metal plate that maybe he's had them surgically implanted in his hand? Have we considered that?
No, but he's gone on record before saying he's got a titanium plate in his hand. From a previous accident as a child, I think.
Did he?
I don't know. I wasn't listening, but I know he said that. Yeah.
Well, we know that Rhodes
not to
stands
pay
at the
attention.
top of the mountain. He's basically the standard bearer here in WWE. But what do you think about Logan's comments claiming that he's the reason for WWE success and has nothing to do with Rhodes? Like that is a confident statement to make.
Delusion is a very strong drug for some people. He also thinks Prime is something that people can actually drink and not spit out instantly.
Come on, I've got to pull you up on that, KO. Love you, mate, but I love Prime, especially the blue raspberry one. I drink that all day, every day. They send it to my house. I love that stuff.
How much?
You
own stock in Prime?
Okay.
How much is he giving you?
He isn't giving me a penny. Logan Paul, it has to be said, has brought a ton of eyeballs to WWE. I will not let that man be tarnished on here, although he does fight a bit of a...
I'll tarnish.
All right, guys.
Look, he's bright-eyed.
Listen, time will tell
Let's
when
tarnish
that match happens later on tonight. But another huge championship match tonight is with the women, the Women's World Championship, Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. And we actually have Liv standing by to give her thoughts before a match. And she's standing by with her own Byron Saxton.
Thank you very much, guys. Liv, you have spoken at length about your Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, and that tour could reach its epic conclusion if you defeat Becky Lynch and become the new Women's World Champion. Where's your confidence level at right now?
Thank you so much for asking that, because I've actually never felt better in my whole entire life. I've been waiting for this day the last 8 months of my life ever since Rhea Ripley injured me. And tonight I finally complete the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour and take what she loves most by winning the Women's World Championship.
Well, on the flip side, we know Becky Lynch is extremely emotionally charged. How do you plan to handle the emotions of the man?
Yeah, you know, Becky likes to keep reminding everyone that I've never been able to beat her one-on-one, and tonight that all changes because Becky Lynch has never faced this version of Liv Morgan, and there's quite literally nothing she can throw at me that I wouldn't... What are you doing here?
You know what I'm doing here. I flew all the way to Saudi Arabia to make sure you don't get your hands on Mommy's World Championship.
Ooh, Dirty Dom trying to get in her head, but before that, we saw a very confident Liv Morgan ahead of her championship match against Becky Lynch. Will Morgan's Revenge Tour end with gold around her waist? We will find out when these two superstars collide tonight.
I know exactly what it took for me to get where I am today. This is a culmination of a lifetime of hard work. The only thing I ever promised myself is that I would give it my all and leave everything that I have in this ring. I've dreamed about this my entire life. Sometimes I felt like I'd never get here, but here I am.
A blindside attack by Rhea Ripley. He's gonna end Morgan's career. No!
When I was injured, I had 8 months to self-reflect and examine. But all I can think about was revenge. Final stop on the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is and always will be Rhea Ripley and the Women's World Championship. And if you don't believe me, watch me.
Get out of here!
I have been told that I need to vacate my Women's World Championship.
I feel like I'm walking around back here and everyone is mad at me, and for what? I'm not the bad guy here. This isn't the end of the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour. No, this is just the beginning.
Tonight we crown a new champion. Who will be the last woman standing in the Battle Royal for the world title? It's every woman for herself.
And here I stand, your new Women's World Champion. This is my show now!
Watch me. I'm so tired of being overlooked and underestimated here. In case you forgot, I am the one that took out Rhea Ripley. You're welcome.
You talk about all those things that you've done, Liv, you never beat me. Liv and I, we got a lot of history together, but in the many times we have fought each other, she's never once beaten me. But now we are dealing with a very different Liv Morgan. She's hell-bent on revenge, and now she thinks that this strategy is gonna be what it takes to beat me.
After 10 long, hard years in the WWE, I will finally sit where I belong, which is at the top of this division as your new Women's World Champion. Cry about it.
And the king and queen of the ring, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Becky Lynch, defends the Women's World Championship, all as the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, in her mind, continues.
All right, both extremely strong competitors going to see here tonight. And on this past Monday Night Raw, Becky mentioned that she and Liv Morgan have a lot of history together. However, Becky has only defended a title of hers, the Raw Women's Championship, against Liv Morgan twice. And of course, Becky was victorious both times. But both of these women have undergone a lot of growth in the last several years. But the question is, who is the strongest superstar in 2024?
I think one of the things I learned in therapy is you can't pour from an empty cup. And my fear with Becky is that her cup is pretty close to empty. You know, she's someone who I think after Mania, a lot of people expected her to take a vacation, to take some time off because she has been grinding. And you know, you have Liv, who is hungry, who is ready. She has spent that time on the shelf. I've never seen her this driven. And I wonder if now things come to a head. If Becky doesn't have any more gas left in the tank, this might be Liv's night.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. I'd say the history between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was effectively a rookie at that point in time. She's not now. She's a 10-year veteran. She has all the experience, not as much as Becky Lynch, but she has all the experience she needs at this point to be fully confident within herself and take the championship tonight.
Yeah, you know, I would never bet against Becky Lynch. I've known her for a very long time and definitely one of the greatest women's wrestlers I've ever seen, but this is a different Liv Morgan. And, you know, I think Rhea Ripley's really to blame for all of this because ever since Rhea injured her, Liv seems on just another level. So I don't want to bet against Becky, but I don't know about that.
You know, Liv fired back at Lynch this past week, calling her the most selfish person in the company. Do you agree with that assessment?
No, definitely not.
No.
Not even close.
You see her go down to NXT. You see see Tiffany Stratton level up because of her time in the ring with Becky. Becky has given back time and time again, but I also see where Liv is coming from. I see her perspective of being someone who has been kind of like, hey, you know, you're off to the side, you're doing a good job. I think she's tired of that. She's tired of being the little sister who's done a good job. She wants that top spot, and I don't blame her.
All right, well, listen, a lot of women are here in Jeddah to show out. We've actually got 4 more who will be battling out tonight for the Women's Tag Team Championships. That match will be happening here on the Countdown Show when we return.
Ever since I was a kid, I have had my eye set on the King of the Ring tournament. Titles change hands constantly, but King of the Ring was something that you had. It was a title that you won and you had for at least a year or until the next tournament occurred.
Anybody that's been following Xavier Woods knows that he was very public about the fact that this was a goal of his. He wanted to become the King of the Ring.
That's always been his goal. That's all that he's ever wanted out of this industry. It's what he's wanted most out of this industry was to be the King of the Ring.
If you play your cards right while you're king, it is a road to becoming heavyweight champion. Once you become king, that's the first step in becoming undeniable.
And in 2021, that's what he did.
You look at a guy like Xavier Woods, his pure motivation for entering the sports entertainment industry, for training at the age of 17, was because he watched the King of the Ring tournaments of past.
Round 1 in the King of the Ring tournament, it's me and Ricochet. I'd never touched him before. We have this match. He's a former Intercontinental Champion. He's honestly my favorite high flyer that I've ever seen.
Perched on the top.
Right to the heart. Cover. 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Woods is going to the finals.
Crown jewel, Saudi Arabia. It's me going up against Finn Balor, the first ever Universal Champion.
Balor Club has come to Riyadh.
Finn Balor is one of the best to ever do this. You expect Finn Balor to bring the goods, bring a match that you will be talking about for days, weeks, months at a time.
This is Xavier Woods' opportunity to make a name for himself on his own, to have a solo crowning achievement.
It might have been Xavier Woods' greatest match, man, like, and probably his greatest accomplishment on his own.
Oh, night.
Xavier, cover. Is it enough? Is it enough? Almost had him in a kick out.
My goodness, it was about time to grab the scepter and crown.
This is the most nervous that I've ever been in my life for anything. This is the culmination of damn near a lifetime of desire. I'm finally here.
Woods gonna walk the top rope, deliver the elbow! Cover! Off the limit! King Xavier!
The dream has come true for Xavier Woods!
This was my destiny!
I mean, his emotions brought him to tears. This was truly, for Xavier Woods, a dream come true.
The new king of WWE, the new king of the ring.
Xavier Woods becoming the King of the Ring winner was a movie in real life.
Oh, hail King Xavier!
Being able to have my name on the list of other kings, it's something that not many people get the chance to say. It's a moment that I'll never forget.
I know we all remember that night Xavier Woods become King of the Ring so fondly, especially you, Big E. But listen, one of the most recognized King of the Rings is none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. And our own Michael Cole is here to tell us a story of how Austin 316 was born.
It was June of 1996. The wrestling landscape had changed as the WWE was struggling, being dominated by its competitor, WCW. The Monday Night Wars were in full gear. WCW Nitro was beating Monday Night Raw in the ratings handily.
You want to go to war? You got a war.
WWE's product had grown stale and predictable. But something magical happened that summer at the famous Mecca Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was the King of the Ring Finals. On one side of the ring stood the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts, who in his recent return had taken to preaching the word to his flock.
My soul was purchased by the blood of the Lamb. So how can I lose if I just go out there and know the power above is reaching down and lifting me up?
On the other, a rough and tough blue-collar Texan by the name of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Get up, Jake!
Roberts never stood a chance.
Stone Cold Stunner. It's over. This may be only the beginning for that young man.
After a quick victory to become King of the Ring, Stone Cold stepped up to the podium and delivered a promo that would revolutionize an industry and change the trajectory of Austin's life forever.
Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. I just kind of put that together in my head, and I didn't know what kind of moment that was. Next time we showed up, all of a sudden there's Austin 3:16 signs, and we realized that there might be something here.
Next thing you know, there's an Austin 3:16 t-shirt. Immediately, they're selling out everywhere.
Many say this moment is what ushered in the Attitude Era. An era that saw WWE reclaim its greatness and annihilate WCW before eventually purchasing it just 5 years later. Austin 3:16 would go on to become one of, if not the most, iconic catchphrases in wrestling history. it would be quoted by athletes and celebrities around the globe.
Austin 316.
They don't compare it to the Stone Cold.
I don't want to intimidate you before WrestleMania, but check this out.
It was as if everyone on the planet was wearing that signature black t-shirt. There is nothing quite like hearing that glass break. Nothing more exciting and euphoric than to experience that sensation firsthand. Austin would stun audiences the world over, as well as a cavalcade of superstars in the ring, myself included. It has been one of the great honors of my life to be one of the 2 men to have been the soundtrack of Steve's illustrious career.
Austin, opening a can of whoop ass!
Myself and all of WWE are forever indebted to the man who not only entertained us unimaginably, but saved an entire company as well, with the power of Austin 316.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
All right, Kevin, look, from one stunner to another, what has Stone Cold meant to you in your career?
I mean, he really, he changed my life, that's the truth. When he came in as a ringmaster, I was one of the few who loved the ringmaster from the get-go. Obviously, he became Stone Cold. Then that night, the King of the Ring changed everything. But, you know, years later, I met him at an airport, asked him for advice, took it to heart. And, you know, 17 years later, I was in the ring with him for his last match. So I don't know if you noticed, I was getting stunned in that package. I don't know if it was necessary to include me in there, but obviously just a huge moment in my career, and he's responsible for me being here in a lot of ways.
No, it changed our industry, clearly changed our industry. And, you know, I think one of the great things about Austin is not only did he have an incredible impact in his heyday in the ring, but he continues to mentor so many of us. He continues to shape our industry this day, and so many of us aspire to even have a fraction of the career that he had.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, it shows you how powerful the King of the Ring tournament can be. That was the launch pad that took Stone Cold Steve Austin from a pretty average guy on the roster at the time, who many of us loved anyway, but turned him into the biggest deal any of us had ever seen from that era, and it was massive. That's the power of the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament when used correctly.
We all appreciate the impact Stone Cold Steve Austin has had here in WWE, especially the next 2 men who are looking to join Stone Cold Steve Austin as King of the Ring. Of course, Gunther, who has not been here nearly as long as his competitor, but has been shattering records. But of course, he will be facing a man who has been in WWE for nearly 25 years, who has yet to have the title of King.
If the sports media thought I was through giving the utmost expert analysis and their jobs were safe, well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. The 2024 King of the Ring tournament is stronger than ever, featuring a field of rookies, knights, princes, ring generals, former kings, and almost the Almighty himself. Injury forced out Bobby Lashley, but provided his liege, Angelo Dawkins, an opportunity of his own against Tama Tonga.
I can tell you right now it's going to cost him.
Looks like there was little reason to bet against Tama following in his father Haku's royal footsteps. LA Knight learned that fact the hard way. Tonga hit him like a Mack truck on his way to the semis.
And we must continue counting bodies to the rhythm of Tama Tonga's war drum.
Used to hanging jerseys from the rafters, Carmelo Hayes retired former King Baron Corbin in the first round. Forget the King, all hail him. That was before meeting a living dynasty in Randy Orton. After dispatching AJ Styles in the first round, Orton showed Carmelo that the 3 most dangerous letters in WWE aren't H-I-N, but R-K-O. Which led to a dangerous showdown between Orton and Tama Tonga.
And here comes Tama Tonga out of the gate.
Game plan immediately out of the window.
And the Apex Predator takes one more giant step toward the throne.
The Raw side of the bracket brought its own madness in search of that one shining moment. A late play into the tournament, Jey Uso ran through Finn Balor, only to find himself in the crosshairs of a Mad Dragon on a hot streak. But after a jaw-dropping victory against Ricochet, Ilya Dragunov came up just short in a frighteningly physical battle with the main event Uso.
Jey Uso heading to the semifinals of King of the Ring.
Meanwhile, the odds-on Raw favorite Gunther chopped his competition down to size.
And he has to tap. Gunther advances.
Kofi Kingston managed to make it by the legendary Rey Mysterio, but like Sheamus before him, he was no match for the ring general. Marching towards the crown, Gunther took on everyone's favorite bracket-busting underdog, Jey Uso.
You gonna catch a yeet down, and I'm gonna catch a crown.
I'm in the business of taking hope away.
Jey Uso's fading. It's over. Gunther advances to the finals.
And now we have a first-time ever dream match in the finals. The longest reigning former Intercontinental Champion of all time, Gunther, looking to go from Ring General to King General, versus one of the most decorated superstars in WWE history, Randy Orton. A match for the ages and for the crown.
All right, Kevin, I got to kick it right over to you because we do have to talk about what happened last night on Friday Night SmackDown. You came to the aid of your friend, your pal, Randy Orton. First of all, what was that like for you running down the ramp? The entire audience was cheering your name.
I mean, honestly, I had tunnel vision. I didn't hear anything. I just wanted to get there before they did any damage to Randy that would, you know, affect him in this match tonight. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to keep an eye out, make sure Bloodline doesn't get involved. Ludwig Kaiser as well. You know, I want Randy to have all the chance he has against Gunther. And as Gunther, as good as he is, he's no Randy Orton. So I think tonight my boy is walking out with a crown.
Can I say, I love this match. I really do. It really feels like, to me, a flip of the coin. It's such a contrast in styles, too. And Gunther usually wins with physicality. But Randy, I've never seen Randy bigger. The shape he's in, the condition he's in, he looks incredible. I don't know which way this one goes. It's 50-50. I hope they're out there for an hour. They're going to kill it. It's going to be incredible. I don't know which one to pick. I really don't.
I got to stop you. I got to stop you there,
Pick
Biggie.
Randy.
Listen, you are completely wrong here. Okay. 5 days ago, Gunther qualified for this final. He's been resting up ever since. Last night, Randy Orton got battered from pillar to post by Tama Tonga and then the Bloodline before KO showed up. Randy Orton could hardly stand up at the end of this match. He is in there tonight with the greatest technician of our era in Gunther. The bullseye is on that knee of Randy Orton. It is going to get shredded by the Ring General.
I hear you, but it's Randy Orton, though.
He's got the European bias is what's happening.
Is that it? Is that it?
That is
disgusting.
Very, I
do
do
better.
kind of wish
Disgusting.
It's disgusting. It has been really nice, though, to see the mutual respect these two superstars have for each other. But last night on SmackDown, Gunther did say, in order to become a legend, which of course he wants to do, he has to beat a legend. And I spoke with Randy Orton, and he gave Gunther so much credit for being. He hasn't seen anyone like Gunther in the years that he's been here.
Well, this is really Gunther's first moment where he is stepping up from sheer dominance to the real A+ tier here in WWE. It's a massive test for Gunther tonight, but I think he's got a head start with that knee of Randy Orton.
All right, well, his knee was working okay the other day because I got to walk around with Randy Orton here in Jeddah to discuss his match tonight. And I'd love for all of you to take a look. Isn't this wild? We're literally in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, walking along the Red Sea. This is where we came to do our jobs. How surreal is this for you?
It's pretty surreal, Caitlin. I've been here a few times, but you never get used to it. It's so beautiful over here. The fans are amazing. It's nice to be back. Being here is wonderful. I'm very happy to be here.
And I think it's always really special. I know for the superstars especially, when we get to travel around the world, be in front of the international fans. We were just in France a month or so ago. The fans were singing your song. What is that like for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, over there in France, Lyon, France, they were singing my song, and just to show you how impactful our fans all over the world can be, for the first time in almost 16 years that I've had that entrance music, they began to sing my song.
You have wrestled in Saudi Arabia a few times, so I gotta ask, how are you feeling going into this one?
I'm beat up, Kayla. I'm beat up. Now I got back-to-back singles matches, but this is for a pretty grand prize, a prize I've never been able to get my hands on. So I'm looking forward to competing.
All right, Randy, we gotta talk Gunther. I'm sure you've been keeping a close eye on him for a while. Very impressive superstar since he arrived in WWE.
I had kind of a list on the inside of my head there that of guys I wanted to work with when I came back, guys that I wanted to wrestle in that ring. And Gunther, I wouldn't say he was at the top of the list. I don't know if anyone has his ability because he is one of a kind. It's going to be hard hitting, and it might be, you know, the toughest match I've had since I've come back. It's going to be a war for me, but I think it's a great way to test and see just how much my body can take. As far as all the qualities that Gunther possesses, I don't think I've ever seen them all in one person. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, I haven't been King of the Ring before, and I'm looking to become King of the Ring. Simple as that.
Well, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we all hope that for you as well. We hope you board the plane on the way back home as King Randy Orton.
Happy to be alive. I'm happy to be here in Saudi, sitting next to Kayla with the beautiful sun, beautiful ocean, beautiful people. It is going to be amazing, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, Randy. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we are inside the Jeddah Superdome, and we are set for our first match of the night. This is for the women's tag team titles. Hello again, everybody. We are so excited to be here, fresh off the Countdown panel. We're now at ringside. I'm Michael Cole. He's the voice of Friday Night SmackDown. Corey Graves, you ready for this night?
I found my tie, still haven't located my pants. Still borrowing someone else's pants. Hopefully, by the time we go live for the King and Queen of the Ring, I'll be fully dressed and ready.
Let's get underway. First matchup of the night.
The following contest scheduled for one fall is for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Introducing first, the team of Indi Hartwell and Candice LeRae.
A big opportunity for these two women here tonight, an opportunity to win the WWE Tag Team titles. They've held Tag Team Championships in the past at NXT. Indi Hartwell, of course, a former NXT Women's Champion, but Candice LeRae, Corey, one of the reasons Bianca Belair doesn't find herself in the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament tonight.
It was the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament where Bianca Belair faced Candice LeRae, and both Candice and Indi damaged the knee of Bianca such that her performance was affected throughout the entire tournament. And I'd like to give a little credit to Candice LeRae for somehow getting in the mind of Indi Hartwell and teaching Indi, you gotta change something, you gotta try something new. What you're doing isn't getting the job done, try it my way. Tonight, the proof could be right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, started on Monday Night Raw, a change in attitude in Candice that Indi would grasp as well. And then, of course, these two were drafted over to Friday Night SmackDown, and a big opportunity tonight for Candice and Indi here in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
And their opponents, they are the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. First, Jade Cargill.
Corey, This woman, Jade Cargill, has been nothing short of impressive since arriving on the scene in WWE.
I could not agree with you anymore, Michael Cole. As advertised, as promised, the hype has been the truth. Jade Cargill is a bona fide superstar. The fans of the WWE have already accepted that. Now the superstars are beginning to take note of what they have to deal with in Jade Cargill.
Tremendous appearance in the Royal Rumble this year. Won at WrestleMania. And of course, back at Backlash earlier this month, would win the tag team titles.
Had it not been for Jade Cargill's temper, Jade may be in the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. It was Nia Jax using Jade's own anger against her to advance.
Nia screaming in the face of Jade's daughter, which set Jade Cargill off. But tonight here on the Countdown Show, we'll defend the tag team titles.
I'm on my own against the wall. The pressure's building, but I will never fall. Instead of crying, they hear me roar. And now I see that I'm way better than before. I never needed you at all. When I fall down, I'm
Next, her tag team partner, Bianca Belair.
Corey, how much has tagging with Bianca Belair helped the career growth of Jade Cargill?
If you spend any sort of time around Bianca Belair and don't absorb some of the talent she's got by osmosis, there's something wrong. This is a woman who has headlined WrestleMania. Bianca has been in the toughest of spots in this game and come out shining like a diamond. When you're a superstar and you see Jade Cargill enter the ring, that's intimidating in and of itself. But then you realize it's about to get even worse because I have to deal with the EST.
It is a superhero-like team of Jade and Bianca.
I think that's an extremely apropos description. From the charisma to the muscles to the talent and the dominance, the sky may not even be the limit for Belair and Cargill.
Again, they won the tag titles earlier this month when we were in Lyon, France for Backlash, knocking off the Kabuki Warriors in that matchup, and now defend here tonight. So, Corey, if you're Candice and Indi, what do you need to do to try to take the tag titles off this team?
Divide and conquer, if that is indeed possible. But physically speaking, Bianca and Jade are both so gifted and light years ahead of the challengers. The challengers are going to have to rely on experience and technique.
Referee Jessica Carr will work this matchup. Our first match of the evening here in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It has been an incredible couple of days here in this country. Big event at the WWE Experience this past Thursday in Riyadh.
You've been running around with brass knuckles in your pocket since Thursday.
Plenty to talk about with that. I saw your tweet, by the way. And now, Indi Hartwell understanding the power of Jade Cargill.
Doesn't take long.
An Indi, an impressive athlete in her own right, mentioned a former NXT Women's Champion, lands on her feet. Jade misses wildly. And Indi Hartwell now trying to out-quick Cargill, but is caught. And again, the power into a fall-away slam that would make JBL proud.
Well, if you're Indi Hartwell, perhaps even Candice LeRae, you're going to want to try to rely on your speed. Cargill has speed, but she's more of a power player. At least that's what we know of her to this point.
And tag made, and here comes the multi-time women's champion, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair.
What I've seen out of Bianca Belair recently needs to be mentioned as we take another look at this super
double team
human power. Since aligning with Cargill, Bianca Belair seems to be enjoying herself a lot more in WWE. She's no longer as stoic and constantly determined. Bianca's having fun, and in a weird way, that makes her more dangerous.
You know, Bianca's talked about that in the past as well, and you see Bianca favoring her knee, the knee that Candice LeRae a couple of weeks ago injured. Of course, it was attacked last night by Nia Jax.
It was exploited last night to great effect by Nia
Jax.
But LeRae, no such luck. Gutbuster.
Knee to the midsection as Bianca tries to fight through the pain. Bianca told me a few weeks ago that she's no longer tense in the ring. She tries to lighten up, tries to have fun, and she, to your point, believes it's helped her grow in WWE.
You asked me earlier about what Jade has learned since teaming with Bianca. How about what Bianca's learned about herself? To that same point, when you teach somebody something, two people learn.
It's that old adage, and it's the truth in the tag team division right now. As pertains to the champs, and Candice just got 5 upside the jaw.
And again, the power of Bianca Belair.
On one leg.
Pressing Candice LeRae, who ends up slipping underneath. Again, the knee gave out, and Indi Hartwell now legal.
I'm not sure if Belair, oh yeah, Belair's aware. And let's not get ourselves confused. Last night,
back to the knee.
Bianca Belair had Nia Jax up on her shoulders to deliver the KOD. That's when the knee buckled. Bianca still playing light years ahead, physically speaking.
A great strategy here by Indi and Candice LeRae. Grounding Bianca Belair, taking advantage of a one-legged superstar here as you see the clock in the lower right-hand part of your screen. That is how far away we are from the King and Queen of the Ring premium live event here tonight in Jeddah. And again, Bianca in all kinds of trouble.
This is what I've been waiting to see out of Indi Hartwell, this ruthless side. Indi's been a superstar as long as I've known her, who just seems to be having a good time. She's enjoying her time, likes to take the long trips, likes to travel, likes to get physical. But I want to see killer instinct out of Indi Hartwell.
Yeah, and Indi perhaps will start to show that in her teaming and friendship with Candice LeRae, who's completely changed her attitude about everything.
And that mental aspect to me is what LeRae has going for her the best. That's what it takes. What LeRae lacks in size and strength, she compensates for in ruthlessness, and that's what it's going to take to become women's tag team champions.
And I saw someone ask Candice LeRae what it felt like to know she was the reason that Bianca Belair perhaps did not advance to the finals of the Queen of the Ring. She just smiled. That nasty, sinister smile of hers, and now unloading on Belair. Dragging Belair back to the corner. Again, later tonight, it is the finals of the Queen of the Ring. The winner gets a championship opportunity at SummerSlam. Will it be Nia Jax from SmackDown? Will it be Lyra Valkyria? Really the dark horse, the upstart from Monday Night Raw.
Oh, look at this. Belair just dumping LeRae to the outside. Still plenty of left in the EST. And Cole, I just want to point out the fact that LeRae and Hartwell have done a great job of cutting the ring in half, of isolating Bianca Belair from Jade Cargill. But you need to inflict maximum punishment. There we go. More of that.
Cover now to try to win the tag team gold in a kick out. And again, LeRae and Hartwell have known each other for many, many years. Close friends, tag team partners. Bianca and Jade, despite the fact they're champs, they're still learning to be a team.
It takes a long time to develop tag team chemistry, and I would argue that Bianca and Jade both have the physical skills to overcompensate for their lack of tag team chemistry. But with that said, in a very short period of time, they have developed extremely strong chemistry. There's no small reason why they're the women's tag champs.
Look at a team like the LA Lakers. I mean, you could put some of the best talent in the world together on one team and they just don't win, right?
True.
And here's a tag made. Indi Hartwell now legal. Again, trying to prevent Bianca Belair from making it across the ring and make the tag. And there's a cheap shot by Hartwell. But again, there you see the change in Indi Hartwell.
This is what's driving me nuts. Hartwell's screwing up right now. Indi Hartwell should be going for covers, should be hooking legs, hooking trunks, doing whatever she can do to become champion, not dance around and flip your pigtails.
Yeah, Bianca Belair, though, telegraphed that. Now Bianca trying to fight back. Candice LeRae from behind the official's back, trying to punish Bianca Belair.
LeRae brought in unceremoniously. Tag! And here comes the storm!
Jade Cargill exploding into the ring with a spine buster to LeRae.
Jade trying to rally the WWE Universe here in Jeddah. Big splash in the corner. And a matching one for Hartwell.
And she's not done yet. Oh, what a peel, sending LeRae across the ring. And now a double splash.
This could be the beginning of the end. Up we go.
Oh, and down goes Indi. Cover. LeRae saves the matchup.
Lucky turn of events for Hartwell as we look once again at the power possessed by Jade, driving Hartwell down in a sit-out powerbomb. And had it not been for LeRae, this one would be over.
And Jade now dumping LeRae, now Indi from behind. Kick right to the kidneys. Again, this is for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Tag made, Candice is legal. Double team coming.
Looking for something spectacular.
And Candice!
Oh, now I don't know if Candice got enough of it. Cover!
Hooks both legs. Cargill kicks out. From the second rope, a springboard moonsault as Hartwell held Cargill, but to your point, I don't think she got everything.
Any superstar will tell you the hardest place in the world to adjust is in midair, particularly mid-moonsault. And LeRae didn't get enough of the contact she was looking for. Still got a 2 count, but not enough to finish the job.
And Hartwell back in on the attack. Another double team coming. Tag. Candice now legal. Candice up to the top rope. Hartwell trying to do it. Uh-oh. Indy sent shoulder first to the post. And now Candice missile drop kick.
The drop kick Jade right back into her own corner. And here comes the EST.
And Bianca Belair now going for LeRae's knee. Little payback.
Wow, look at the power.
Oh!
Good God, man.
Oh! DDT suplex cover for the win.
Here are your winners and still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
We talked about what Jade has learned since teaming with Bianca in the last seconds of that matchup, literally. Notice Bianca Belair shoving Jade Cargill to where Jade is supposed to be after this ridiculous display of power. First the DDT, into the ocean, cyclone suplex. And Bianca realizing she's legal, she's got to execute the cover. And Jade all smiles with good reason.
And Corey, the other thing that's impressive is they continue to change their game. They didn't use Jaded. They didn't use KOD. They came up with something completely different to retain the tag titles tonight.
New looks, same result, that being a giant W tonight at King and the Queen of the Ring for the Women's Tag Team Champion.
We are sold out tonight at the Jeddah Superdome. Plenty more to come.
When the chips are down, Drew McIntyre steps up and pushes forward. I've done some serious thinking. I'm not the same guy I was.
There's a saying in Scotland, what's for ye will no go by ye. What's meant to be will be.
I was the kid who said I'm going to be the first Scottish guy ever signed to the WWE, and I believed it that much.
Principality Stadium in Cardiff, Wales. McIntyre is back home in the United Kingdom.
The main event, the first UK stadium show in 30 years. The journey that led to this moment. The man that I've finally become.
You're gonna find out why they've called me the Chosen One, the Scottish Warrior.
Finally, Drew McIntyre fulfills his destiny.
McIntyre is WWE Champion! The first Scottish WWE Champion in history.
Give it up for Drew McIntyre, first Scottish World Champion.
WWE Superstar Drew McIntyre.
All I've ever done is try to give the fans what they want. Find myself looking back and asking, is the sacrifice worth it?
The 2024 Royal Rumble match, the main event at WrestleMania on the line. Punk eliminated McIntyre!
Of course, they all want to win, but there's only one superstar that needs to win. The savior of WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre has a chance to become the self-proclaimed savior of WrestleMania. It'll be McIntyre and Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Claymore! McIntyre has won the World Heavyweight Championship! championship. CM Punk loading up that brace and assaulting the champion. Oh my God! Senor Murray in the back. Brings Tazashin in. South to heaven choke slam. Priest has won the world title.
Everything I did, you stole that from me, Priest. I'm coming for you. You're nothing but a transitional champion.
McIntyre is sending a message to anyone paying attention. All bets are off. He's finished playing nice.
Two things you should be avoiding: being in my prayers and fighting me one-on-one.
Look at that gorgeous view of the Jeddah sign here at Dusk. I know I can speak for all the WWE superstars when I say we have thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. One superstar who's getting his head in the game, he's had a lot of success here in Saudi Arabia, is standing by backstage with Byron Saxton ahead of his massive championship match. We're talking Logan Paul. Hey, Byron.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm standing alongside the United States champion, Logan Paul. And Logan, I want to revisit SmackDown last night. I want to revisit what was said by your opponent tonight, the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, who called you a fraud. He said that you perhaps suffer from imposter syndrome. So with those strong words in mind and the controversy that surrounds you, what's your approach heading into tonight's match?
There's absolutely no controversy surrounding me. Everyone loves me. Imposter syndrome. What are you talking about, bro? I was a YouTuber. I transitioned into being a professional boxer. All of a sudden, I'm in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. There's nothing I can't do. Everyone's always doubted me my whole life. Look at me now, Byron. For the third time, I'm in Saudi Arabia wrestling for a championship. And mind you, last time I was here, I left with the belt. And tonight, I'm leaving with 2 belts. Double champ, United States champion, and the undisputed champion. Like I said, everyone's doubted me my whole life. My life is a consistent cycle of me winning and me proving people wrong time and time and time again. And tonight, I'm going to show everyone why I belong in the WWE, why I belong in this ring, and most importantly, Byron, why I belong on top. Have fun, bro.
Appreciate you, Logan. And tonight we will find out if Logan Paul belongs on top. Back to you guys.
All right, like I mentioned before, Logan Paul has seen a lot of success here in Saudi Arabia, but will it be enough to end the story of Cody Rhodes? We'll find out here tonight.
Cody, your next challenger has been determined.
The United States champion, Logan Paul.
So, Logan Paul, I think I know what you want to talk about.
Main eventing the king and queen of the ring in a champion versus champion match.
I'm not gonna call you a podcaster, an outsider. I'm not gonna pretend that this is a fad for you. I've actually gotten a sense of who Logan Paul really is. You are disrespectful, self-centered, delusional. You cannot go a single match without grabbing those brass knucks. You're making viral memories, and I think it is time to drop that United States Championship.
Not what I agreed to. I agreed to wrestle Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship only. Cody Rhodes has not done anything to deserve a shot at my United States Championship. I have proven every single time that I'm in this ring that I am worthy of every title in this industry. Here's the bottom line, Cody. Your championship is on the line, mine isn't.
Logan looked for a cheap shot, and the United States champion sent to the floor.
Uh-oh, Broccoli. Hey, guys, get in it.
That is mine.
Cody Rhodes has a lot on the line. Logan Paul has just opportunity.
For anyone out there who thinks I need to use cheap tactics to win, you're wrong. You saw me give my brass knuckles to Michael Cole. I will beat Cody fair and square. I will give these up. I will not use them in the match tomorrow.
My experience would lead me to believe you've got another set of knuckles on you right now.
What, are you calling me a liar, Cody? What, are you a TSA agent? Okay, hey, I don't know how those got there. These aren't even my pants, bro.
These are the difference between you and I. It's a crutch for everything that you've done in your career. This title, on the other hand, it's my whole life. It's all I ever wanted to be until you stop treating this part-time, until you dedicate your heart and soul, until you respect the ring that we are standing in. You will never, and I mean never, be on my level. You will never be undisputed WWE champion. I'm gonna beat you so bad, kid. You'll regret having ever stepped foot in the ring with me.
So, of course, we touched on this match a little bit earlier, but as you know, this is only Cody's second title defense since becoming champion at WrestleMania. He defended against AJ Styles and Lyon France at Backlash, but what is the biggest difference between competing against AJ Styles and someone like Logan Paul?
I mean, they're both pretty amazing athletes. That's the one thing I'll never take away from Logan Paul. He's insufferable, he's annoying, he's a moron, but great athlete. AJ, phenomenal athlete. It's his whole nickname. So there's a lot more. They're a lot more alike than you might think. Of course, the experience factor is not there, and Cody has that. So
I think the risk is greater when it comes to somebody like a Logan Paul, because Cody has built himself up to be this leader of the new era of WWE, to be this figurehead, to be this ambassador. If he'd have lost that championship and that title to AJ Styles, it wouldn't have been a terrible thing. But to lose that to the antithesis of everything that Cody Rhodes is in Logan Paul, an outsider, an amoral guy, a guy who will cheat and sneak around and not represent the way Cody Rhodes does.
Didn't he say he wasn't going to tarnish Logan Paul earlier? Sounds like you're tarnishing a little.
I'm not trying to. I won't tarnish his drink prime. I will tarnish the man when he competes in the ring, however.
His moral fiber, I see.
Yeah.
Look, you know, Logan's incredible. He really is incredible. But
oh, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's Becky Lynch. Looks like she's making her way to the ring. The question is, will Liv Morgan's revenge tour end with the gold around her waist, or will Becky reign supreme? Only time will tell. Again, these are both huge opportunities for these women. Who is going to go home as the queen of the ring? The implications are massive, of course, heading into SummerSlam. And guys, we're about to find out, because that match happens right now.
Today, from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, comes an event unlike any other.
An absolutely incredible scene.
One king. One queen.
Elation has taken over.